Alright, I want to say all praises be to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Harakah Dash. Double honors to the apostles, Wazakwanyam of Great Millstone rule well, and Shalom to the sincere brethren, Akim out there across the four corners of the globe, pushing his good news, his gospel of Yahweh Shai, proclaiming salvation to the elect of Israel, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and proclaiming the downfall of Esau Edom, the so-called white man, and his empire. And basically that's the lesson, man, because today, breaking news, man. Babylon is in turmoil, man. Babylon is falling, you understand? You know what I mean? The capital city, man, Washington, D.C. Watch you have anarchy, chaos, the invading of the capital, man. People dying, man. Sectarian violence, man. One people against another people, you understand? Of which is all prophesied in the scriptures, man. You know what I mean? You have America divided, man. You have sedition, you have insurrection. You understand? This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, come. So we measure in the time diligently, man. How do we measure the time? We watch for the prophecies, we watch for the signs that Yahweh Shai talked about, man. What? We see class, people fighting like one people against another people, man. We see in America divided. We see nations building up their military for the Third World War. We see in the mark of the beast, RFID chip, man. You understand? The New World Order. So we watching the times, man. We measuring the times. And when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told you before, then shalt thou understand that is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And so the Most High visiting the world, man. You understand? Why? Because the world is in the midst of high wickedness under the rulership of Esau Edom. That's why the Most High visiting this kingdom, man. He visiting Esau Edom. He bringing you down, Esau Edom. He have divided your kingdom, he have numbered your kingdom, and he have finished your kingdom, man. You on your last legs, Esau Edom. You are turning against your own self, man. Your kingdom is being destroyed from within, internally and externally, man. You understand? This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Kind of destruction to the world, man. That's not what we see. We see biological pestilence. We see wars, rumors of wars. You understand? We see famine, earthquakes in diverse places. All of these things is prophesied. You understand? Destruction. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And the sword and destruction, man. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. And that's what we saw today in the capital of Babylon, the United States of America, Washington, D.C., man. We see one people against another, man. We see the Trump supporters against what? The government, man. The status quo, the senators, the Congress, the House of Representatives, man. They invaded them, man. You understand? And a lot of those Trump supporters have guns and weapons, man. You understand? So one people against another, man. Fighting against the police, man. You understand? So it was what? Sectarian violence, man. And swords in their hands. 8 people got put to death, man. 4 people got put to death, man. So they say on the news, man. So what? Death was in the air, man. You understand? During that one people against another people out there in Washington, D.C. You understand? Of which was beautiful, man. You know what I mean? Brothers were pumped up watching that, man. You understand? Brothers were giving our praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, watching the chaos and division and anarchy that was going down in D.C., man. You understand? Because this is the days that we live for. You understand? These are the times that we live for. The time of reckoning, man. The time of judgment. The time of the downfall of our enemies. You understand? For there shall be sedition among men. Can't sedition among men, man. And what does sedition mean, man? Uproars, man. Uproars against what? The powers that be. Let me look up that word sedition. This is the word sedition from the online dictionary. Sedition, conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch, man. And guess what? Who was the head of that, man? Trump, man. Trump, because those are Trump supporters out there, man, rioting, man. You know what I mean? Invading the Capitol building, man. And Trump told them to do that, man. So you had your so-called head of government tell them to rebel against the incoming government, man, of which is division, man. Democrat versus Republican, man. You understand? The status quo versus the rebels, man. Just division, man. One people against another people. For there shall be sedition among men, and they invaded one another. They invaded the Capitol building, man. People got put to death. Senators, congressmen was running for their lives, man. That's what we coming to, man. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. Like I said, man, the top men and noblemen in this society, they had to run and duck for cover, man. They have to go into hiding, man. Because people were seeking their life to them, man. And we saw it broadcasting on national television, you understand? And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. And so if you want, hey, DC right now on curfew, man. Strict curfew, man. You understand? The police have that on lockdown, man. The feds, the police. Hey, man, you can't go into DC now, man. All willy-nilly now, man. That place on lockdown, man. You understand? And that's coming on a national scale, on a global scale, man. When things really jump off for real, man. City's gonna be locked down, man. No man in, no man out, man. You understand? For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So because of their pride, man, America is prideful, man. And what's the capital of Babylon? The United States of America? DC, man. You understand? That's one of the centers of power, man. You know what I mean? One of the unclean spirits, man. You have DC, the military, London, the financial, the Vatican, the religious, man. So DC is one of the main cities on the globe, man. And that joint was on lockdown, man. You understand? Was on lockdown, man. Chaos and destruction on the streets of the nation's capital, man. You understand? Of which is a pretext, a forecast of what's on the horizon for this year of 2021, man. The year of our Lord, man. Abaratazar. The houses shall be destroyed and men shall be afraid. And the men was afraid, man. Those senators, those congressmen, hey, they were real afraid, man. They was in fear of their life, man. You understand? And that's what's gonna be going down in these last days, man. Men are gonna be afraid. You understand? The great men, because it's gonna be class wars, race wars, political wars, man. You understand? All of these things are going down in these last days and times, man. You understand? This is the book of Mark chapter 3, verse 23. And he called unto them unto him, and he called them unto him, and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? And that's what we saw in DC today, man. Satan against Satan, man. You understand? Democrats versus Republicans, Edomites versus Edomites. You know what I mean? The Babylonians versus the Babylonians, the Egyptians versus the Egyptians. That's what we saw in DC going down. Satan against Satan. Esau against Esau, man. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And America is divided, man. You have Edomites against each other. You have Jake against Esau, Esau against Jake. Democrats, Republicans against each other. Rich versus poor, poor versus rich. You understand? All type of woman versus man, man versus woman. Hey, all type of madness, all type of, not madness, all type of division upon the shores of America, man. A kingdom divided. And if a house be divided against itself, the house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but had an end. And that's what you saw today, man. Satan rise up against Satan, man. You know what I mean? And that's happening, man. That's gonna happen, man. Internally, America gonna be divided and consuming that, and externally, man, you're gonna have Edomites from Russia, England, France, against this place, man. You know what I mean? Shooting missiles against this place, you understand? So that's what we're witnessing, man. We're witnessing a downfall of an empire. You understand? And it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 47 verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. And then that's what we see, man. Sit in the dust, man, in that confused statement, divisive statement, as associated in DC, man. Confusion, division, man. Anarchy. That's Babylon sitting in the dust, man. Babylon coming down, man. Being brought down. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. So you have all these countries, man, coming to the realization that, hey, America is a big farce, man. You understand? They go around the world bombing, killing people, man, pushing their false democracy. Hey, but look at America, man. America is all twisted and messed up, man. You have wealth disparities, racial discrimination, all these things at an all-time high, man. They're supposed to just had an election, and you have political unrest. But America's supposed to be this beacon of light, but really it's all a sham, man. You understand? You know what I mean? That's why the scripture say what? Come and sit on and sit in the dust, man. You understand? Come down, man. Come down to that confused state, man. You understand? Moses is bringing Esau down, man. This precept. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, verse 10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places. He shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Let me read that again. But I have made Esau bare. Come, Esau is bare, man. Especially this Babylonian Edomite, man. This American Edomite. The so-called white man in America, he's been exposed, man. All nations is turning against America, man. Every nation is seeing that America is a hypocritical nation, you understand? I have uncovered his secret places. He shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled. And that's coming, man. He's about to be taking all the power, man. You know what I mean? Via the nuclear missiles and the simultaneous return of Yahweh Shai into captivity for Esau Edom, man. His empire, the epicenter of his empire, America, totally annihilated. Edomites around the world, shackles and chains, you understand? His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Because a whole lot of Edomites going to perish in these last days and times, man, when this nuclear war jump off. And those that are still around, man, shackles and chains, man, captivity, man, awaits, man. Because like Revelation 13 and 9 say what? He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, man. So this is how we see, man. We see the end of Esau's kingdom. We see the end of an age, man. And it's beautiful, man. It's lovely. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 9. 2nd Ezra, Salakia, chapter 6, verse 9. Verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And there it is, plain and simple, man. So what we see is the end of what? An age, man. The end of Esau's age, rulership, man. You understand? And we see in the what? Ushering of a new age, man. A righteous age, you understand? An age where, hey, you're not going to have that, man. You're not going to have riots and anarchy on the streets of Jerusalem, man. You're mad? When we ruling, when we running things, man, soon our earth is out. Hey, ain't gonna be no anarchy and rebellion and chaos on the streets of Jerusalem, man. On the streets of the city of peace, man. Yerushalayim, man. You mad? Nah, brother. But hey, that's a sign that what? Esau is going down, man. His kingdom is in turmoil, man. And we said to what Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai for that, man. You understand? A precipitous decline. Babylon the Great is on a precipitous decline, man. A kingdom divided, man. Hey, can't stand. And that's what we're seeing, man. So with that, when I say all praises be to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Hashem Harakakodash, double honors to the apostles and elders. Shalom to the brethren.